Tom Vasel's top 100 games of all time.
Mike DiLisio, bravissimo, sporadically bored, but never pianissimo.
Zee Garcia, voice of the people.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Mike DiLisio.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And today, representing the people,
That guy.
the face of the people.
so let me explain how we're going to be doing our top 100 this year.
Sorry that you look like this.
All right, what are we doing?
So for our top 100, me, Z, and Mike are doing our top 100 games of all time.
Okay.
Roy has defected and has started a whole new team called the A-Team.
Yeah.
And assuming we reach that stretch goal in our Kickstarter, which, by the way, if you haven't noticed, we're running our Kickstarter for our show, DicetowerKickstarter.com. They'll be doing theirs later this year, their
Okay.
top 100. But you got to vote on your top 100 games of all time. I know some of you are going, I didn't know about it, but at least 1,000 of you did.
Yeah.
And voted on your favorite games. And so each time we do one of these, someone will represent the people. And you guys have divvied it up. I don't even know who's in which episode.
Yeah, so various of us from around the office will be filling in the place of the people. And I am unfortunately today's the people.
Is that unfortunately because it's you or because you don't like representing the people?
I'll let you decide that for your own after I go through this list of the people's choice.
I agree with everything the
This is
people
not how
have
you
said.
start.
Yeah, Chris, you're not
representing the
endearing
people.
yourself. You're
Well,
not
see,
endearing yourself to the
Look,
people.
both Mike and myself have previously been the voice of the people.
Yes.
You're doing a terrible job so far.
Well, I am making fun of myself, so I think that the people would
No,
agree
you
with
said
me.
you let us decide that.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, Chris.
Yes.
That being said, before we start, we want to do some shout outs to some of our Kickstarter backers. We want to say thank you to Ben and Sam Davey. We also want to say thank you to Ari Soltanik, Daryl Hutchins, the Miller family, which is Ken, Carolyn, and Thomas. Great name. Thomas Glennon, another great name. And Thor Soderlund.
Love
That's
that
a
name.
good name.
Thor
Yeah, right
Sutherland.
What do you say? Okay, well.
That's a good one.
That's a good name.
Thomas, a fine name.
All right, let's start with some caveats that we always do. These are our top 100 games. Yes, they're going to change from year to year. Yes, we know that we're saying of all time, and also recording this in the year 2022, and next year we'll say it again, of all time.
Here's
Yes.
what I did, okay? I took the previous top 100.
Okay.
I wrote out about 38 or 40 or so games I thought might make it.
Okay.
I took all of those 140 games, put them into a ranking head-to-head system, that Pub Meeple system.
Yeah, we should
Yes.
give a shout out to Pub Meeple. That's a
Right,
great
Pub Meeple
website
is
for this.
fantastic. If you
Right.
want to rank things, check them out. Pub Meeple. And I ranked for a while. Every matchup, when it was done and it spits out the list, I grabbed it and I shot it off to Chris, who did the thumbnail. I did not touch it.
Wow. So you were a little bit braver than I was. I did something very similar to you. I took last year's list. I took this year's top 10 list, or 2021's top 10 list. I went back through BGG and added some things that I thought might be in consideration. I had somewhere in the range of, I don't know, 150, 160,
Yeah,
somewhere in that
right.
range. Put them all into Pub Meeple, and then I let it do its thing. 400 and some odd comparisons is what it came
Yeah.
out to. Got that, and I did massage it a bit. I did go back through. I didn't
Okay.
have the guts. I got to give this to you. That takes guts. Stupidity, maybe. Some
just-
might say. I say guts.
I just figured, if I'm being honest with myself when I compare them head-to-head,
Right.
then that final result is what it is.
No, but sometimes I would look at the list and go,
Right. Yeah.
just that's not right. It actually should go down or it should go up.
No.
So your list is a complete shot in the dark. is what you're
I've
saying.
actually barely looked at it. I honestly, once it spit out, I sent it off and didn't look at it anymore.
Almost like a robot shows your list.
No,
one
I'm
might
not a
say.
robot, Chris.
So,
I'm a
Copycat
human
murderer.
man.
so would you call it arbitrary? Would you say this
Thank you,
list
Troy.
is arbitrary?
Not
That
at all. I think
meaningless?
it's as innocent as it can be.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't
What did you
massage
do
it
to
at
make
all.
your top 100?
I left it completely alone.
Wow.
The people, over 1,000 people you said voted. for what is this, and then and I mean, did you do anything?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
guess
actually
you were-
typed
you
them all into the
massaged
thing.
it?
No, I didn't. I did not. You know, that should be higher.
going on in this list.
Could you imagine? That would not be very useful. Yeah.
No, I typed it out, so this won't. I'll pretend to be surprised at the people's choices, although I've forgotten a lot of it.
There's 100 games on
For
this
mine, I
list,
did
so-
what they both did, except instead of 400 matchups like Mike had, I had about 1,500.
Oh!
It got very tedious after a while. I put too many games in.
Somebody plays a lot of games.
I like
1,500.
games too much.
That's what
Somebody
For anyone who
says
doesn't
I
know
did,
how Pub
damn.
Meeple works, do you want to explain that really, really briefly?
Yeah, Pub Meeple, you input all of the games that you think, or it could even
Anything
import
you
your
want.
Board Game
Anything.
Geek collection, which is what I did.
Yep.
And then it just shows you two, and you say, I like this one better, I like
Left
this
or
one
right.
better.
Yeah.
And it just keeps doing that until it makes your list. And it does a good job.
It's swipe left or swipe right. It's like a dating app for board games.
Okay, I think we're ready to begin.
All right. I'm wearing my apple pie tie, and I brought apple pie Tic Tacs to eat whenever. Would you like to try one?
To eat whenever what?
What, like a crossover, or?
Are you
Number
trying,
10.
Are you trying to tell me something?
My number 10. Wow, we're already shooting to the top 10, Tom?
Number 10. What are you
We're
doing?
doing this in
My-
reverse order.
All right, so number 100. Hey, guys. Oh, there we go.
These are good.
I'm quite disturbed
Wait,
right now.
You think it's good?
Yeah.
You don't like them?
Those are the worst Tic Tacs I have
Wow,
ever
that's a
had.
bold statement. There are some pretty terrible Tic Tacs
I spit
out
them
there.
out. I hate them.
Back in here?
Those are all used Tic Tacs. There we go. Regurgitac.
You saw me open a fresh one. My family didn't like it. I'm surprised.
Yeah, they're good.
Go ahead and do yours, and then you can have one when you're done.
Thank
Well,
you,
you've really
Alexander,
sold
for the
them to me,
super
Well,
Tom,
he said it was
They're
good,
very
though.
subtle, but they're nice. Yeah,
I hate
absolutely.
'em.
All right.
Alexander coming in with a super chat.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Alexander.
Alexander. Now, since I did this last year, I now have data.
Yes.
I have data, baby.
Yes.
Ooh, that's cute. Want to see my data?
All
It
right,
goes across.
stop with the flexing.
That's cute, he said.
I'm gonna make you eat all these
Yeah.
Tic Tacs.
Look, I get it, Tom. My list is in portrait. Yours is in landscape. We all get it.
That's true. I am.
All right. Shaming me. All right, my number 100 is new to my list, but it's not a new game. Well, it's a newish
Okay.
game, but it's not new. My number 100 is what some people might call Battle Yahtzee. This is Dice Throne.
Oh, I was like, trying to figure out.
So this is a game that I liked it the first couple times I played it, but I don't think that I appreciated how much legs this game has.
Yeah.
This is a game that I love teaching to new people. It's a game that I love checking out new characters. I'm excited about the Marvel. I was thrilled to be able to take these characters and put them into the Dice Throne adventures. But I'm specifically going with Dice Throne here as my number 100. This
I'm
has the
assuming
potential.
you're saying season 1 or season 2.
Yeah, honestly, it's the game system. I don't know that I prefer one season over the other. 2 has maybe a little bit more complicated and therefore sometimes interesting characters, but I like just about every character I've played. It essentially uses a Yahtzee style mechanic where you're rolling dice and you can re-roll them up to twice, and you're also playing cards that are going to allow you to mitigate those dice. And it's really best as a head-to-head battler. You can play it, multiplayer, but it's best as a 2-player head-to-head 30-45 minute game maybe. I really, really have enjoyed Dice Throne more and more the more I've played it. And again, I have introduced, this is a great game to introduce to people that are, like dice games, but maybe haven't played a lot of modern hobby games. I really, really like Dice Throne a lot. And so this is coming in right off my top 100, new to my list.
Well, if that's your
Dice
100,
Throne.
your list is just going to get better.
I hope so.
Probably not.
There you go. You've earned
Try
it.
it.
Oh,
Nice pick.
man, here we go.
All right. My number 100, I couldn't find, I only compared this data to last year, so I don't know if, I have older data, but I didn't look it up.
That's more of a flex than me. He's like, I could have done it. I
Doesn't
just
taste
chose
like
not to.
anything.
It's very subtle. It is very subtle. It tastes like a cider donut or something.
If by subtle you mean flavorless, then I concur. Nothing there.
Okay. My number 100 is a roll and write style game called On Tour from Board Game Tables, right? On Tour is a big box roll and write style game. It's really a flip over a card, isn't it? And, well, you do both.
Yeah.
Flip over some cards, you roll some dice, and then you write numbers into locations on your own personal map. trying to put together a tour throughout the states of your band. And the longer of a tour you can create, the more places you can go to, the more points you'll score. The tour must continue to go through numbers as they rise. So, and there will be stars in there, as you can see.
Those are wilds.
That are wild.
Yeah.
That sounds really simple.
You've not played on tour?
I have not.
Tour is a
surprised about that,
really
actually.
good roll and write.
It is.
It quickly becomes very thinky, very puzzly, as you are trying to.
It really reminds me of Roll for America.
That one is much
Oh,
simpler.
Rolling America.
Rolling America,
America,
or
sorry.
Rolling Japan, Rolling
Right.
America, yeah. That one's a lot simpler, with
Yeah.
just sort of, you write numbers next to numbers. This one,
This has more pre-planning.
there are some limitations as to where you can put the numbers also, and so the planning of it can be quite in-depth. This is a good one also to play with someone remotely. As long as they have a map and you have a map, you can play. Yeah, I think it's a great production, very fun game. So On Tour was not on my top 100 last year, but it's my 100 this time around.
I am
good games.
terrible at this game.
It's tough.
Absolutely terrible.
yeah.
Sorry, people. I
No
cut off the
bad
people.
games have been said yet. Tom, the pressure's on.
I don't care. My number 100 was 76 last year. It's been on my list for 14 years.
Oh.
Oh, no. This is important data information.
Wait, let me turn this the right way. Oh! Now my list is completely different.
Coliseum. Actually, Coliseum, I played this year.
Okay.
It's one of those
that
games.
version of it.
Of course.
The only version. That's the only one
Tasty
that
Minstrel
counts.
version does it. That's the Tasty
That's the
Minstrel
Tasty
now.
Minstrel version right there.
We're showing, well, either one.
There's better pictures available of that one.
This is the one that's available, I think, right?
So Coliseum is a fantastic game, but the reason I play it is because when I'm with 5 people, we want to play a Euro-style game that's a little bit heavier. Not heavy, but it's not a light game. This is a good choice. It really works well with 5. I like the theme where you're putting on a show, and the best show that you put out on over 5 turns is your favorite.
yeah.
So there you go. My number 100, Coliseum, and thank you, Chris Coln,
Thank you very much.
Very
who gave a
generous
shout out to the
super
Jack
chat.
Vasel Fund.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
The People's Choice for top 100, or for number 100, is Century Golem Edition. This was actually number 100 on the list last year as well. What? It was as high as 91 in 2018 when it
There
first came
was
out.
3 or 4 exact crossovers with the People's
really
Choice.
Wild. That is
There
pretty
was.
wild.
And it made it easier for me to put the slides together.
That is nice.
Now, Century Golem's a great choice, though. It's such an approachable game. It is the more fun version, or the more fun-looking version, at least, of Century Spice Road. With
You
this
don't
one,
like? You think this is less fun looking than Century?
I think that it is more. I think that it is more whimsical. I think that Spice Road gets a bad rap. I
You think
really
it's
do.
more? You think that one's more fun looking?
He said fun, Mike. He didn't say better looking.
yeah, let me tell you how fun it is to look at cardamom fields.
Cardamom.
Cardamom.
is gorgeous.
I know we're going to ask this question, so I'm going to diffuse it now.
Please.
There's only one Century on the list.
This was
Okay.
the highest voted one. then.
Yes.
Yeah, you are right though. This is probably the one that's going to be more appealing to more people.
Yep.
I think so.
You have number 100?
Do you actually like the other one better?
No, I don't. I just feel like it gets a bad rap.
Oh, my version's better. I have those 3D.
Oh yeah.
Oh, those are cool.
Yeah. Somebody I know made some actual resin ones with real spices inside them.
That's my version.
That would be the Roy Canada version.
Do you know how expensive spices are these days?
It's the 4X
a lot
Space
cheaper
edition.
than they were 400 years ago.
That's right.
Thank you, Dr. Chris.
All right, my number 99 is also new to my list, but it's also not a new game.
That's amazing.
He's going to
Mike.
say there's 100
What
more
are the
times.
chances?
I know. None of the. There's no
What
crossovers.
are the chances? All right. My number 99 is a game with a unique theme where you are it's in Victorian England time. It is Obsession. This is a game. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is a game that really started out as, from what I understand, a small print run, a very kind of a passion project for the game designer, and it really has become pretty popular.
Yeah.
It's really created quite a buzz. I think it's in its third printing now. There's expansions for it.
I agree. This has been a slow burn upwards for sure.
Yes, and it is a game that has kind of built a very passionate community about it. The people that like Obsession are passionate about it. They want to introduce it to new people. If you
This
are
is the
familiar,
more fun-looking of the two versions.
I agree 100%. I agree.
Golem Road.
It also comes with the smallest cards in all of Mike's top 100.
It does. It has just that one little small deck. But yeah, it's a very interesting worker placement game with some clever card play where the theme has a huge.
It's a good game.
It really is. There's some tile placement that give you some actions, and you're playing cards that are going to allow you to have certain types of workers, like butlers and valets and things along those lines. But if
Valets?
yes, have you not watched Downton Abbey?
They say valets?
Valet, yes.
In
It's not
America,
valet.
what do they
It's
say?
not valet?
It's valet.
Is that the
These people have no culture. They don't watch Downton Abbey.
You're so indignant right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mike.
Downton Abbey is an indication of culture.
Here, let me show you
I'm
how to
uncultured.
Let me show you how to eat a Tic Tac. You got to put the pinky up. No, this is a
I
dexterity
thought he was
game.
going to stick it in
Or with
his
the pinky
mouth.
up.
I really don't like these now. This is all for a joke. Here we go. All right.
The dumbest joke.
That's the worst.
That was fantastic.
Wasted a
show.
tic-tac.
Obsession is a really nice worker placement game with a unique theme that does a really good job of integrating that theme. It's not just painted on. You really kind of feel that, and you can even do light role playing if you want to have some real fun with that kind of a thing, because
Elizabeth, where are the crumpets?
that type of a thing, Chris, that was fantastic.
That's what Mike
Anyway,
says.
my number 99, Obsession. A really good game.
My
Yeah.
number 99 also has a lot of valets in it.
Yes.
It's invalid.
No, my 99 was not on my
That's you.
list last
To
year.
me.
I don't think it's ever been on any of my lists. It's also not very new, but it would hover around this place, I guess.
Okay.
And it finally just barely broke on through. This is Time Bomb Evolution.
Ooh.
Time Bomb Evolution, which is that, and that is the version I have there. There's been a previous.
This is the Don't Like Cthulhu?
No, this
Don't
is the
Mess with Cthulhu?
sequel to that.
Oh.
We've played this actually. The Don't Mess with Cthulhu
I
Yeah.
played that one too.
is the one that has very little game in it. You
This
just
one had
sort
more of a game in it. You're
This
right.
one had colors.
Yeah.
The cards are colored, and whenever you flip over, say like the third color of something triggers, right? So you have to be careful about cutting too many of the same one. There's more game in this one. But it retains all of that mistrust, and the valets are definitely a big part of this one. So I like this game a lot better. I think it's a more robust game. Still not a difficult game
Sure.
by any means, but if you're looking for a social deduction game that has a little bit more to it while being very streamlined, that's my choice. That's my go-to.
All right.
Okay.
So Time Bomb Evolution, quick, fun, some push your luck, some of that, I don't know if I should flip a card in front of you over, can I trust you? All of that stuff is really neat. And that version there, which is the one I happen to have, is a gorgeous production. So, my number 99.
Interesting, good pick.
My number 99 has been on the list for 4 years. It dropped a bit, but I don't really know why. I still like the game, although this year I played its sequel 7 times already. And that's because it's a campaign. And that's Role Player.
Oh.
So we're playing Role Player Adventures right
Gotcha,
now, which is
okay.
like kind of it uses this universe. In fact, that guy in the cover of Role Player is one of the main parts of the Role Player Adventures.
Spoilers.
Really? Is that guy over there over his shoulder, is that some sort of traitor? Or maybe his valet?
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Okay. We got to pull off the joke here a little.
Okay, I'm done.
Wanna
Anyhow,
kick
this game is a game where you build a D&D character,
Yeah.
and you do so with dice. But if you don't like D&D, it doesn't matter. You're just manipulating and rolling dice. And there's not a lot of these games out there, actually. And this one's compared to Sagrada. I like this more because I feel this one has more game in it. It has a couple expansions, and I think I would only ever play this with one of those 2 expansions. They're very similar.
Yeah.
Both expansions are very good, and they both add. There's one thing that they add enemies that both add, and I like that a lot. And that put it on the list to begin with. It wasn't on the list before that expansion, but I still think it's a fantastic game, and I like the system that the manipulating dice is used a lot in the Role Player Adventures.
Interesting. Yeah.
So my number 99, Role Player
Interesting. The People's Choice, number 99.
That was not interesting. And when people are like, interesting and then they comma,
Yeah.
means space.
There was no comma. Yeah, there was just
There's
straight
actually
up.
just a period. He's like, interesting. Moving on. The unspoken, like, now for something you've actually been waiting for is the unspoken section there.
The number 99, well, this is what the people said. Seventh Continent. Seventh Continent has been on the list for 3 years in a row now. It was 96 last year, 99 this year. So it's just right around the same spot. Seventh Continent is a big adventure exploration game for the most part. You move around these cards that kind of get laid out as a map. And there's just, I mean, it's massive. There's so much content in here. There's also this, has the Seventh Continent retail box? That came out as well,
I
right?
believe so.
Yes.
It was a retail box, an
yeah.
original, then a massive expansion. Yeah, the content's in here. You can go for days with it. That's
What was this last year, Chris?
96. It is as high as 39.
I think this will be off the list next year. I'm calling this, and the reason why I think so is because
Not everyone has it.
Not only that, but I think that when this first came out, it was a much smaller genre within board gaming. Now this
I
has
agree.
exploded.
Yeah.
We had this year. We had Destinies, which
Right.
does some of the stuff that
Some
this
of the same
does,
parts,
and
snappy thing.
Gods.
yeah, there's a lot of games to do this. But I still, the one thing that no other game has done at this game, the Seventh Continent, is that flipping of cards.
Yeah, that's
that idea.
different.
Of you can flip a lot of cards, but you might mess up then.
Yeah.
I like that
the actual
concept.
testing. Yeah,
Correct,
the
yeah.
testing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I imagine it might not be on the list, but also Seventh Citadel is
Yeah.
on the horizon at some point. So
This is one of those games that is going to have a narrow appeal, but it will be some folks' favorite game
Yeah.
forever.
yeah,
It's got
exactly.
that kind of quality to it.
Yep.
Yep. So that's 99. Seventh Continent.
My number 98. Have any guess? Has it been on my list
Oh,
before?
this is new to the list. But
This
it's
is new to
not,
the list, but it's not a new game.
Oh, yeah.
Sense a trend
I was
here?
Like, you want to guess? No.
Sense a trend here? Okay.
It's a billion games it could be.
I would say that of my gaming collection and even of my gaming tastes,
They're terrible.
they're fantastic. They're fully vetted.
This is the first bad game that's going to be on your
No.
list, is what you're saying.
No, what I'm trying to say
You're failing.
is that the biggest probably small niche is two-player games. I don't play a lot of two-player only games.
You gotta
this
get on
is
that.
You
He's
love
trying to
them.
brag about the number of friends he has.
I don't yeah, that's right. I'm either playing solo or I'm playing with all of my adoring fans. Two-player games are hard for me to get to play, right? But this one really kind of knocked me out. It's a very simple kind of tug-of-war style game. It's called Blitzkrieg. This is by a designer, Paolo Mori, and Blitzkrieg to me feels like a smaller version of an earlier game of his called Dogs of War that Simon put out.
Yeah.
And this is what they bill as World War II in 20 minutes. It's kind of it's a bag pulling game where you've got chits that represent different kind of troops, and you're pulling them out of bags and you're placing them in these little theaters of war. It's very abstracted, right? It is not the loveliest looking game. It kind of leans into even the war game aesthetic. But it is such a clever, snappy two-player game that is very easy to teach. It plays in a perfect amount of time. It's one of those games where you feel like you play it and you want to play it again. When you're done, you want to kind of do, even a best of 3 is great in Blitzkrieg. A really, really solid design, very clever, streamlined, honed to a razor's edge. There's a new kind of version of this called Caesar that's coming out that I'm looking forward to.
Which we have not played yet.
Haven't
so
played it. Haven't played it, but Blitzkrieg is one that
Estimation.
Thank you.
Valet.
Valet has raised on it as I've played it more. I played it at the retreat last year and really enjoyed teaching it to somebody there.
I'm excited. We got a promo for this in our
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite promos we have because it's a new tactile.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, so my number 98 is Blitzkrieg, a very, very clever two-player game.
Interesting. My number 98.
That had a real pause to it, though. He actually thought that was interesting.
I have not played Blitzkrieg yet.
Oh,
I like-
really?
I'm a huge two-player fan.
Oh, man.
And I like Paolo Mori. I
Yeah.
like. I don't
Did you
know
like
why.
Dogs of War?
That theme is not attracting to you.
Yeah.
No, but it's okay. It's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's okay. I gotta play that.
Yeah.
That one. It's got to be on my list
Catch
to
up
play.
or lose.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my number 98 was my 64 last year. and it dropped. It's a little card game that I've liked for many years, but I can definitely see this. I can tell why it dropped, and I can see it leaving eventually. It's a little game called R Echo.
You love this game, man.
Echo is
Rico.
Suave.
That's not it. It's about recycling. This version here was the one that was available in the U.S. I have a, I think it's a German printing of it I have, and that's another different printing of it. It's been printed quite a bit. The one I have is very attractive, very good quality. But the game is a hand management game through and through. That's absolutely what it's about. 4 factories with a dump side to the factories with random cards thrown there, and then 1 recycled, organized side to the factories. On your turn, you go to one of these, you pick up all the nasties, or rather, I'm sorry, you play good stuff, like clean stuff, to one side where it goes, and then you pick up all the nastiness there and put it in your truck, which is your hand. Go above a certain limit, you have to illegally dump your your goods for, like, without processing them, and that's going to penalize you for victory points. You have to make sure you manage a very narrow margin of what you can hold in your hand. And I find that exercise of excuse me, that exercise of where you can play, where you should play, where you should not play, to be very engaging. So I like this a lot.
Is this in print right now? Do you know?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That printing of it is quite old, and I don't think it's around
Sounds
anymore.
really clever. I mean, this sounds like a game that they probably should spruce up a little bit, maybe even retheme it, or theme is fine, but maybe change
Yeah,
the
mine
look.
does not like recycling. So.
Yeah, no, I hate the
The theme is
environment. If
very
there's
well
one thing that people know
implemented,
about
actually,
me.
Anyway, my 98 R Echo.
Mike hates trees. He's going to write a book just out of spite.
Interesting. My number
How long
98.
can we keep this up?
Joke has gone on.
My number 98 has been on my list for 4 years. It's dropped down a bit, and that's because this genre is expanding, for which I'm glad. And that's Awkward Guests.
I still need to play this game,
I
man.
haven't either, yeah.
I don't know why this cover art should be drawing you in like, oh, get
I'll tell you
out.
what. I feel like that guy in the
Is
upper
that dude
right
having a
right
heart
now.
attack
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
corner there?
Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey.
Which guy in the corner?
It's a Sanford and Son
Yeah, that
reference,
guy, the
folks.
big guy, is
Oh, yeah,
clenching his
yeah,
chest.
he's
right?
dying. He's killed.
Oh, he's
And in this game, so it's like Clue, and you're trying to figure out who done it, with what weapon, and in what. Well, no, you know what room it's been done in, what their motive there was.
Tell me how it's like Clue. It's
Wow.
a joke. Continue.
Interesting.
That was not a joke, okay?
Yes, my humor bone is gone. Anyhow, I like this a lot. I love this deduction style game. I think it's fun. I know they kickstarted a sequel this year, so I haven't played that one yet. I've read the rules for it. It didn't sound as good as this one, but we'll have to wait and see. But again, there's a lot more deduction games available.
Yeah.
So that's maybe why it dropped a bit, but I still find this one to be fun. Awkward Guests.
Fantastic pick, Tom. Is that better? Wow. Number 98 is...
Chris, your voice manages to make everything sound like it's full of disdain,
Yeah,
even
the
when it's not.
sarcasm is strong in this one.
All right. Well, number 98 is War of the Ring. This is the people's choice here.
Oh,
War of the
right.
Ring. Yeah.
I was like, wow, Chris. I
Even
forgot
you forgot
he
what was going
became
on.
the people.
So the War of the Ring has been as high, at least on Tom's flexing record here, as high as 54.
That's the people, not me.
Back in 2011, it fell off the list for 3 years between 2015 to 17, but it's kind of picked back up.
Second edition. Read the reprint.
Okay. Was that in
Ares
18
War
or so?
Ares brought it back and made it much more widely available.
I heard that they're making a card game version of this.
I have not heard that. That sounds
Weren't we just talking about that yesterday?
Yeah.
sounds
yeah, you
terrible.
mentioned
Car of the Ring.
it. So with that, I'm going to assume then that this is folding in as well, if anyone voted for War of the Ring First Edition or
Yeah,
something.
probably.
Sure.
They're the same game for
Yeah,
a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
need
people,
more
I
water.
understand, right?
Jimmy Jab Jab, yep.
Camilla!
If anyone is hearing this and has access to the agua, I can
So
throw
the
some in
People's
here.
Choice, 98, War of the Ring, obviously fantastic IP, big epic game, and it's Lord of the Rings. It's got to be popular.
Oh, it's popular.
All right.
Hey, my number 97 was on my list last year.
Finally.
However, this of the games that
It
were
was
on
number
my list,
2.
is the biggest variation in ranking from previous year. This is actually down 67 points.
So you hate it now.
I don't hate it now. My number 97 is Rising Sun. There's a couple of reasons why.
Oh, interesting.
There's a couple of reasons why. Number one is that the game is very difficult to get to the table. Very, very difficult to get to the table. I still appreciate the design. I still think it's a very good game. I do think that it is very, very group dependent. We got some water. Yeah, just throw it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah,
There we
thank
go.
you.
I'm
Rock
good.
and roll.
Thank you.
You might want to leave the other one in here somewhere.
Yeah, just pop like
Just stick it right there.
Right
Thanks.
there.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're replete with water. So it is a game that I feel like is difficult to get to the table. It's hard to kind of teach. It can be very group dependent. I've had great games of Rising Sun and I've had really flat games of Rising Sun. But the biggest reason why it's dropped as much as it has, still on my list, still a great game, is that there are other games that I now go for when I want this type of an experience. This kind of troops on a map experience with a little bit of kind of negotiation things going on.
I want you to point them out as they come on your list.
I will do that. Yeah, yeah. And so it's still a very solid design, but I don't know that I played it last year. I don't think I did play it last year, and so it's increasingly hard to keep it
but
as high
now,
up as I do.
Wendy's currently painting the whole thing. You're going to be
She is.
tempted when that's done.
Oh, I'll absolutely. I mean, look, if it's on my 100, I'll play it. I mean, I'll be happy to
I
play
only
it.
play stuff in my top 2.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame.
Top 3 if I'm feeling generous.
Yeah, it's still a very solid design, but I had to be honest with myself that it was not as high as it was in the last year. So
Sure,
my number
yeah.
97, Rising Sun.
To be fair, if I had to put only games on my top 100 that I played in the last
true.
year, that would be tricky.
That is very true.
It would be a top.
It'd be new games.
It'd be a top 20, and then 80 games you played from 2021.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. All right, my number 97 is a classic in Tom's eyes and just a classic in general. It was 78 last time. Number 97 is Cosmic Encounter.
Ah.
This did not make my list this year.
Yeah, right. So it's dropped a little bit. It's still in my top 100. From 78 to 97 is not too much of a drop, certainly.
Sounds like it might be off the list next year that I will
It
weed.
does, right? And this might fall trap to that whole, well, it's not getting played, so is it really sticking around, right? But the game is tremendously fun. Even one play of this will remind me, I think, of how enjoyable this is. Yes, it's group dependent, and that can matter, but the game is still a tremendous design and something that has clearly stood the test of time at this point. So Cosmic Encounter and this version, the last one there was, is still a fantastic production. I don't know if this is in print right now, but I think one of these various covers is in print, right?
They did that 42nd edition of it, and I don't remember if it has a different cover or not. That's the cover I have.
The one I have has no artwork on it. It's the one that's just sort of...
That was the first one that
first
FFG
one.
did.
Yeah, that's
This
the
was
one.
a reprint. I don't know if they've done another one since.
Yeah, but I think it should be available. Anyway, my 97, Cosmic Encounter.
Classic.
My number 97
man.
is almost a crossover with Mike.
Oh.
Amazing.
Sort of.
Yeah.
This was as high as number 13 at one point.
Wow.
And you should go watch my original review of this, where my two co-hosts, Zee and Sam, were saying it's not that exciting. And I was like, this game's amazing!
Uh-huh.
Blood Rage.
Wow.
Go watch an original review of Blood Rage and then see how the tides have turned, especially for one of the reviewers who then went to play it everywhere. I like Blood Rage, and the main reason it's dropped, I still think it's a fantastic game. The main reason it's dropped is I don't play it as much.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting. You had Rising Sun, I had Blood Rage in 97.
That is interesting, yeah.
I still think this is a fantastic game. I'm looking forward to the upcoming announced but no
Years
detail,
away. It's gonna be years away.
Second
expansion.
edition of this or expansion.
Expansion,
But I never thought it needed one. I
No.
think there's a lot of riders, a lot of different monsters. You can play with the mystics or not. You can play with the gods or not.
Yeah.
It's a fun game. And so Blood Rage, my number 97.
People's Choice number 97 is a big worker placement game called Anachrony.
Wow.
Oh, what's a big...
I was surprised this hit the list. I mean, it's a big game.
It is a big one, yeah.
It's big, but kind of like you said, where this is many people's favorite game. Favorite
Sure.
worker placement game, favorite big game. This is a game that put, I think for a lot of people, the designer David Turksey on the map. This was as high as 75 2 years ago, and it's hovered around in the 100, 110s, kind of around that. But
Yeah.
yeah, number 97, I mean, I think it shows that this game, though a few years old, has a few tricks that people really like. Unique workers, the exosuits, great production, really interesting theme, and just
Yeah.
solid worker placement.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Anachrony.
It's a fairly complex game,
I'm
too.
blocking
It is, yes, it is. It's a fairly complex game, for sure.
I was blocking the name. You get to see this triangle coming out my head there. Oh!
That's a good look.
Conan,
Nano,
Space
nano.
Tower Edition.
Nano.
So number 7, Anachrony. 97, Anachrony.
Spoilers.
All right, my number 96 is another game that's taken a bit of a tumble, and it's down 42 spots. This is Dinosaur Island. Again, still a game that I like quite a bit. Now, I will spoil a little bit. Dinosaur World is not on my list.
Okay, I was wondering, but
I
now
totally figured it
Yeah,
would be and
no.
would have pushed us out.
But the reason why, the reason why Dinosaur Island has dropped is because I do suspect that Dinosaur World might eventually overtake it. The issue is
it has for me.
I've played Dinosaur Island literally tens of times more than I've played Dinosaur World. I want to play Dinosaur World more to know if it has the legs. I know Dinosaur Island does because I've played it many, many times. I've played it across all the player counts. You see what I'm saying? I want to play Dinosaur World across all the player counts. I want to make sure that it's... My gut tells me that yes, in future lists, Dinosaur World will overtake this. But I still appreciate this design. I still love the theme. I still think that it really helps players with, it's that double-edged sword. It's a huge table hog, but part of the reason why is that it helps people so easily know what to do in each phase. I think that's a very smart thing. So anyway, Dinosaur Island is still a game that I like quite a bit, but I have a feeling this is going to be the last year it's on my list. 96.
I'm curious to see if World will pop on your list then.
I am too.
That will be an interesting
Yeah,
thing.
we'll see. If I can get it played a few more times this year, we'll see.
They both are in my probably top 200, but
Yeah.
they did not hit the top 100.
Got it. Yep.
All right, where are we at? 96. Okay, another little card game for me that it was barely moved. It was 93 last year. It's 96 this time. And again, this was blind. I went into it without this comparison, just ranking things. It's Archaeology, the new expedition, which is, I think, one of
that's
my
high.
top introductory, welcoming style games that I have in my collection. This
It
is
is
one that I very
fantastic.
often will default to if I'm looking for a game that is not intimidating, that has an appealing theme, very few components, it's just cards, and is quickly and easily understandable. That is, again, not off-putting in any way, because you're just drawing a card on your turn, and that's a very common thing for people who are non-gamers, right? The idea of on your turn, draw a card. I like that. It's like a touchstone. And then you can exchange your goods in your hand with an open market. So the values of things are that number in the top corner. You can exchange one broken cup for 2 pieces of the broken tablet, the equivalent values. And then you can sell a set and just put that in front of you. The more of the same thing you sell, the more they're worth. That's it. You throw on top of that some gamey stuff, or gamery, I should say. Gamey sounds like it smells. Some gamery stuff, like, sandstorms will hit you, so you don't want to hoard cards. And you can get these specific cards that let you open a tomb and get some hidden cards that no one's had access to yet. Really neat stuff. Very simple. I've played this mostly with family, but it just sings in that kind of setting. And that production is gorgeous. High quality cards, very attractive, evocative artwork. So that's one that I'll always keep that game. I know that game's not going anywhere.
The original game, the picture, by the way, you saw of the cards was first edition. it looks better than that. Those cards that were up there, I'm pretty sure.
No, I think that's
No,
second edition.
Yeah.
That's
Was it?
the new expedition? Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. It works really well with 2 players. I think any player count, but particularly it's a nice little.
a great two-player
two-player
game,
sit
too,
down,
yeah,
shuffle it, deal out
Phil
some cards.
Walker Harding has gone on to become a very acclaimed
This
designer.
was the game for me.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this guy from Australia?
Right.
This came out 15 years ago. I just did
amazing.
my 15 years ago top 10. This was on the list.
Really?
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
All right, my number 96 was 101 last year. So
Wow.
it's peaked.
It's on. It's made
peaked
it.
back on the list. Although it's been on the list for, I don't know, 12 years. Something
82
like that.
years.
This is one of my favorite party games, Dixit. And maybe part of it's because I got that new deck
You know
that
it.
I made where we got the backs of the cards. I think they were in a Kickstarter 2 years ago or something.
Yeah, the sleeves.
And the sleeves. So we now have a Dixit slash
Detective Club.
Detective Club slash
Mysterio.
Not Mysterio. That was those
Mysterium,
are round, right?
No, Mysterium.
Yeah, not Obscurium.
Mysterium. Obscurio is what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mysterium and then one more, Muse.
Muse,
So
yeah.
all 4 of those, we made
When
this
I
giant
Dream, too,
deck.
right?
No, When I Dream has words on it.
Oh,
I didn't
got
like
it,
that.
got it.
They're also double-sided cards.
Oh, I see.
Anyway, I like Dixit. I still think it's a clever idea that's been copied by a lot of other party games. They came out with a sequel to it this year, Stella,
Yep.
which is very solid. But Dixit, the ease of it, and yet it feels clever.
It does.
Like if you play this back to back with Apples to Apples, it makes Apples to Apples feel like a dumb game. I don't know how else to explain it. I think Apples to Apples is fine.
Yeah.
Play it, but you play Dixit, you're like, ooh. But here you get to make the clues. I don't know. It's just
Yeah, it's a
I
little
really
bit
like
more
it.
clever, yeah.
Also the artwork, I love it. So
Yeah.
Dixit, my number 96.
So the people.
Apples to apples.
Not quite.
That would be
That'd be great.
That would be great. Yeah.
Insult the people.
It's.
I would never insult the people. The people are wise beyond all measure.
Well, I think you'll agree with me because the people's number 96 is Western Legends. This is a big thematic
I was going to say
kind
Dixit.
of sandbox
I
game.
know that would have made way more sense. This whole representing the people thing is just not going well.
It's Chris's first time.
I don't like to
Speaking
use the
publicly,
phrase
what?
Well, I will say
complete
that
catastrophe.
I've
but,
never quite been over 1,000 people before. This is my first time. But no, this is Western Legends 90 at 96. It's previously been 97 and 94. It's been
Wow.
hovering right around
True
this spot.
consistent.
Yeah, I think people like this one, and I imagine this one's going to kind of be right around in the same zone because I don't think there's a ton of games that are quite this.
There's nothing that's like this, really.
I
Oh,
think-
no, Spurs.
Yeah.
That one from Mr. B.
No,
Games.
but that's not a sandbox
It
kind of
is.
game, is it?
Yeah. It's just not a very nice quality one.
It's not a good-looking game as much as this, anyway. Yeah.
I think they're releasing a big box for this with another expansion, so you can kind of keep it all together. So that's going to even keep more interest in it, I think.
That'll help it. Yeah, that'll help it.
Yeah. So the People's Choice number 96, Western Legends.
You're doing a great job, Chris.
That's fantastic. My number 95.
Are we getting to the good games yet on your list?
This is the first.
New to the list,
It is.
and also new this year.
Bam!
Ow!
I know that was quite loud.
What is wrong? wrong with you?
My number 95 is an audacious design.
Ooh, audacious.
It's an audacious design, Z.
Is it
Would you say
the
it's
Seesaw
bodacious?
Viking
It
Seesaw?
is not Viking Seesaw.
That's
although
audacious for him to put that
keep
out.
your eyes open for next year. It is a.
My word.
It's a very unique design, and it's a game that I played with one Mr. Zee Garcia and one.
Did
maybe
I, did I introduce it to you?
No. I introduced it to you.
You'd play with all 1,000 of the people, is what you're
My
saying.
number 95 is Oath. This is.
Oh my goodness! Is this in your top
Really?
100?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
you did play this with me,
Wow.
Mike. I was in the review with you.
I played it with Chris. It was a very memorable experience.
Interesting.
And I played it with Roy as well. I played it with Roy, who's definitely not putting his hand up behind the TV over there. Both hands up, Roy! So, Oath is a game that I hope it stays on my list. And the reason why I say that is that the only way this is going to stay on my list,
Who are you going to find to play this with?
that's it. I've got that is the biggest detractor to this game, is that it demands a group of people that are willing to kind of play through it and kind of see everything that it has to offer, because I feel like I've only scratched the surface of this game. I feel like there is so much to discover here. Not only just is there, a huge deck of cards, but I feel like there's so much emergent gameplay that can come out of the group. And the more the same group of people can play the game, I think the more you're going to find the depth that I really feel is there.
Maybe you'll be saved if they make an app of this, and then you can find some people
Something
online
along
to do
those
that.
lines,
with.
yeah. Because I don't know, I'm not putting you guys on the spot here. I don't get the impression you guys wanted to play this many more times. But I would love to find a group of people that want to play it regularly, relatively regularly. I don't think you'd have to play it every week or anything.
I think the main word if I had to describe the game in one word, and it's something you already said, is demanding.
It is.
This game is a very demanding game.
Right.
And that takes, like you said, investment of time and energy, even to really tackle it all.
Right.
Commitment to really play it.
It sits right on that line for me of, is the effort worth it, right? And I tip it the far way, like, yes, absolutely, for folks that have more time for games than I do, right?
Yeah,
The same game.
Sure.
But I don't think I would, because it's just so demanding.
And it's hard with our job, to be quite honest. It's hard to be able to devote that much time to playing the same game 12, 13 times a year. That is a big game.
I can do it, but it has to be like I'm playing, like I said, Role Player Adventures.
Sure.
We're doing that, but that's the one game.
Right.
I can't. I have to make my choice, and I did it earlier. I did it last year with Sleeping Gods.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it. Those are.
And theoretically, I could play this game solo, but I'm sorry, this is not a game that's suited well for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just isn't. This is a game that is going to shine with group interaction, metagaming, all that kind of thing. I really do feel like this is a design that is brilliant. I just hope I can play it enough to keep it on my list.
This is my biggest surprise so far. I knew you liked it.
Yeah,
I just didn't think it'd make your top 100.
I agree.
I think it's fantastic. I just hope I can play it enough to really prove that theory.
Well, I'm rooting for you, Mike.
Nice.
Don't count on me.
Root? Did you do that on purpose? Take credit for that. You did that on
Sure, I
purpose.
did it on purpose.
Same designer as Root,
I
folks.
know, yeah.
Oh yeah. Here we spell out the jokes. Go ahead.
ROOT.
J-O-K-E.
Yes, no, we get it, yes. No, it's the Birds expansion. All right, my 95 is not a game that I found on my list for last year. Mm-hmm. Might not have been on my list ever, but it is Endeavor. Endeavor, Age of Sail.
Wow. Okay.
Is I played the original Endeavor back when it first came out, and that went out of print, very much out of print. It was quite difficult to find. And then when this came back into print, I thought they did a wonderful job just keeping the game largely what it was, re-implementing what was there already, and then adding some new interesting things that, to be fair, I don't often use these new things they implemented, but I think they're well done and interestingly implemented. The game manages to feel like an old school Euro game, even older than when it originally came out. And what I mean by that is it gives you a big game feel. It gives you lots to think about and decide upon with very simple input from you. Right? So it has that old school, those old school kind of trappings from like a Reiner Knizia game or a Michael Schott game from back in the day. On your turn, you just do one little thing. Boom. And you are moving up on these various tracks in front of you. You are opening up new ports. You are taking over new forts. You are doing all these things on this board. But it's all quite clean, engaging, quick moving, quick turns in this game, you know. This is a Euro game that, again, managed to give me a big feel, but I can play kind of leaning back in my chair. And that's not something I can say for a lot of Euro games of this type. They're often sort of like, I got to be paying attention, I got to be doing a lot. This game I can sit back and play and be competitive and not be distracted or distant from it. So I think it's a good one. Endeavor, Age of Sail, wonderful production. My number 95.
I do want to say I think this was on a previous list, if not last year, maybe 2 years before, because I remember being a little bit surprised that you enjoyed it so much. But I think it's a good pick.
I like being surprised
I just looked
multiple
at
times.
my last one and compared it to this one. So
When we made this list, there was a lot of games I said, well, as I was doing the back and forth, I said that will be in the top 10. Oh, this will be in the top 100. So when I looked at the final list, I was surprised how many games got knocked out of my top 100 that I really liked.
Sure.
So here's my annual disclaimer. 98 does not mean we dislike the game.
No.
For me, these top 100 are out of like 7,000 to 8,000 different games. You know, There's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of fantastic games in my top 200, 300, 400.
I agree.
And by annual disclaimer, you mean you're going to have to reiterate this next video, too.
Probably. That being said, it's time for our first crossover.
Oh!
And I'm with the
Hey.
people.
Oh!
Tic-tac time.
That is that is anachrony.
Whoa!
Yeah. So
I
anachrony
am
for
shocked
me,
this is in your top 100.
because I love the game.
It's great,
I just
isn't it?
haven't. So
Yeah.
it's dropped. Well, actually, it was 94 last year, so it hasn't
Okay.
dropped that much.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I am dying to get this to the table again, and that desire and
Yeah.
eagerness means I still really like the game.
Sure.
It's just that that new box has intimidated me. Although I've recently had some people tell me that
Yeah.
it's easier to set up. That it was just that initial pain of sorting everything
Right,
out that
right,
was
right.
the worst part. If
Okay.
that's the case, then huzzah! I'll play this in the next outing that
Okay.
thing, because I do like Anachrony a lot. I like the idea of time travel. This is
Loans.
minoristically time travel, but I still like that.
Minoristically, I love that.
It has very tinyistical amounts
Yes! Even better.
of time travel. No, it's a fantastic game. It's a little big for its britches, but it's also big.
Yeah.
So-
it is.
There you go, Anachrony.
Okay.
I love you, people.
The People's Choice number 95 is by acclaimed designer of Viking Seesaw,
Oh!
Reiner Knizia, and it's a game called The Quest for El Dorado. This is a deck building game that has a map that you run around through, and it's a very simple little deck building game, kind of a system. People really enjoy it. It's a fun mix of racing and deck building moving along. It was previously last year at number 82. The prior year at 134, so I think this is settling into a nice little spot here. It might fall off the list, it might not, but it has gotten an expansion. A
Standalone expansion,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
standalone expansion,
Yeah.
that's true, yeah.
It had an expansion and a standalone.
Yeah, it's had 2 expansions.
And a reprint.
Yes.
And the very gorgeous
I
reprint.
want that reprint.
I want
not
the Dutray.
available,
Yeah,
though.
not in the States. It's
Right.
Hey,
It
if
might
someone
not,
overseas can get that Vincent Dutray one, email me. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Because I obviously got a lot of
sure.
fans here as well. All of us are. So
Yes,
that's the People's Choice number 95, The Quest for El Dorado.
Nice. All right, my number 94 was down only 7 places, so pretty consistent. And I also mentioned that 2-player games, I don't have a lot of those in my collection. Another kind of game that I don't have a tremendous amount of would be abstract games. But this is a fantastic, I call it a modern classic abstract game. This is Azul.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm still talking. We've joked about this before. I'm talking original Azul. It's still my favorite of the Azuls. I know other ones make them more
What did you say about it?
I said
Gamey. They
gamey.
smell sort of like a dead cow.
It's a little bit of venison going on with Azul. I remember something along the lines of the fact that Sintra exists. Well, I can't remember what it was, but
You
you
said
remember,
something
Chris?
The fact that stained glass essential exists makes me like Azul less.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
such a. I'm still annoyed about the stupidity of that comment.
Look, let's not get caught up in the details. Let's talk about this beautiful game Azul here. This is a very easy to teach, beautiful abstract game that I have never had a bad session of Azul. Some have been better than others, but I've never had a bad one. I have introduced this to so many different types of gamers, people that have played tons of games, heavy gamers, light gamers, new gamers. This one still just, it just hits every mark I think it's going for. It is a very, very streamlined design. You know, you can mix it up a little bit with having different orientations of the patterns, but it really is just, I think, a brilliant game. I feel like there's nothing in here that doesn't need to be in here, and I don't feel like it's lacking anything. That's why, to me, the other versions are fine. But this is Azul to me. When I think of Azul, I still think of this version of the game. This is the one I want to play. If I want to play a game like this, it's going to be
I'm nodding my
one.
head a lot, but the
Yeah.
other 2 versions are clearly better.
They're not. They're not better. But that's okay. You can be wrong. That won't be the first time. My number
And it won't be the last.
My number
Oh, wait.
94 is the modern classic Azul.
I think the second one's better than the first one, but I go back and forth with this one then being the next best.
Yeah, Chris
I do
Yee
think the
agrees
second
with it.
one is a little bit better, yeah.
I don't remember what the people say, but Chris Yee agrees that the second one's better.
Nah.
That's
Yeah.
3-1.
I don't care. The
But it
one
is-
is better
it
than
is-
the 3.
absolutely a modern classic and has sold
that's why we're
the
seated
numbers
this
to
way.
prove it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a huge hit. All right, my number 94 is a very interesting game that they've supported quite a bit, and I think that's what finally made it onto my list, and that is Chronicles of Crime.
Now, is this year the first year you've played it?
No, I don't think so. Because I played before the game came out at the UKGE. I played it.
Look who's flexing now.
Before it came out, huh?
Okay, let me flex even more.
All right.
You
One of
designed it.
One of the folks from the company played it with me and Luke as they were like still kind of finalizing it, I think.
Why don't you flex even more? You're also a character in the game.
Yes.
So are you.
I'm aware.
Anyway, but I think it is the first time it's made it onto my list because there's so much content that they've put out for it, and it continues to be amazing content. They've just recently
We've got you
finished-
in the picture right there.
Oh, there I am. Right above that gentleman with the mustache. They came out with that series, the sort of, what is it, millennial series?
Yeah.
Centennial, whatever they call it. With the 1400s, 1900s, that set, that
You have
series.
got to play the 24-under one. I know you would like
Yeah, it's
it.
just a really cool concept.
Cyberpunk,
They
yeah.
knocked
Yes.
it out of the
Setting,
park. It's a game that still feels very much like its own thing. Other things have slightly approximated it, but not really. And yes, I know some folks don't like the app-assisted thing. They're like, oh, this isn't really a game. It's more like a video game. Whatever, that's up for you to, you got to decide that on your own. For me, it's a game, and it is a very fun and engaging one. So, Chronicles of Crime, whichever flavor you want to go with, is a well put together package, enjoyable, and just immersive. Really well done. So, that's my 94 Chronicles of Crime.
Thank you, Geek Factor.
And also Chris earlier with another super chat. Thank you both.
Super chats.
All right,
Yay.
my number 94 was 44 last year and 32 the year before that. So it's settling on the thing, but I still like it. And the sequel to this game did not make my top 100. The sequel is Lizard Wizard. I like Raccoon Tycoon. Now, Lizard Wizard
with
is
you.
fine. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it felt like they added things to Raccoon Tycoon that at the end of the day, I'm kind of happy with Raccoon Tycoon as is.
Okay.
I agree.
Lizard
Lizard
Wizard's
was-
fine.
It existing made Mike enjoy Azul less.
That's correct. That is correct. The fact that
Interesting.
Lizard Wizard exists.
I
makes me
really like
Lizard
Raccoon
Wizard.
Tycoon. It had paper money, and I was like, I don't know about
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
But it's a very simple stock market mixed with auctions, mixed with
Set collection.
it really. When I think about it, it's not a lot of things I like put together particularly, but it works because the one thing it does do is take a quick action. Take a quick action. Take a quick action. And I do like that stock market a lot.
Another thing I've learned about you as a gamer, and you've even mentioned this before, you like games where everything you do gives you a positive feedback. This is one of those games.
That's true. You're either getting resources,
Yes.
or you're selling them,
To get
or you're
something
getting
you
a cool
want.
building.
Yeah.
The only one here that doesn't is sometimes you auction off and someone else wins it, but then you
Yeah.
get to go again.
Right.
So yes, you're right.
Yeah, it's a good game.
All right, the People's Choice, number 94. This is one of those that has incredibly broad appeal. The 94 is Cartographers.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, some games are narrow and deep focus for players.
What was this the year
Cartographers.
before?
Cartographers last year was 64.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is a roll and write that's I think going to be around
got
for a
some
while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this one-
This is a keeper, right? It's,
In
it's
the
one of
news-
those kinds of rolling.
That's so pretty.
Well, in the news, we just announced that there's going to be several new maps, and so it's
Right.
getting a lot of support from Thunderworks. I think they really know that they've got a game that has a lot of appeal. People get special colored pencil sets and draw their own map. You're
They
supposed
get
to
stamps. I've seen people that got
People get
stamps.
stamps.
Yeah.
This is one of those very customized games for a roll and write.
Sure.
So yeah, very popular. Number 94, Cartographers.
Good job, people. All right, my number 93 is a game that is down a little bit, 13 places, I think, 19 places.
Here we go.
19 places.
I'm getting you that little thing to put on your knuckle.
Snake! My number 93 is a game that really kind of solidified for me how much I like this kind of design group of Prospero Hall. This is Horrified, a really solid cooperative game with a tremendous theme. The Universal Monsters, they have since come out with a kind of a standalone, you can't call it an expansion, just a new edition of it with American cryptids that is essentially the same game. It is basically a pickup and delivery, which I love that mechanic, that's their mechanism, that's something I've mentioned in the past. I just feel like this is a really, really solid gaming system. I feel like they can take this and just continue to iterate on it and build upon it, and I'm excited to see them keep doing that. I hope they do keep doing it because the core design of it is so clever, so easy to implement and teach and learn and play, very satisfying. I think that they did a really good job of adjusting the difficulty, making it very easy to adjust the difficulty, add a number of monsters, go with different monsters that are a little more complex.
You're right. I think that's fantastic.
You know what I
Very
mean?
impressive, from a design point of view, absolutely.
Right. It scales very well with the player counts. Horrified is just a really, really satisfying, relatively entry level, not as entry level as something like, Forbidden Island, but not too much higher than that.
No, but it's between Forbidden Island and Pandemic.
Exactly. I feel like it fits a really nice family weight cooperative niche, and that is Horrified, my number 93.
It's a really solid game. The best game, I think, from that whole studio, I think, is Horrified. All right, my number 93 dropped a decent amount. It was 48 last year, and it dropped down. It's a fairly simple game. I did play this year. And I think it'll settle around here, maybe even slide off. It's a game called Sheep and Thief. And Sheep and Thief, the worst thing I can say about it is that it's kind of a slight game. And it's a very short game, very simple and slight. But the game play itself is very enjoyable. It's a drafting game in which you're going to have a hand of cards. You take one, pass the rest, all that. And then you're playing these cards out in front of you on a board in front of you, building paths to connect various locations around your board, but also collecting sheep and avoiding this fox that's moving around, possibly capturing your sheep. What's neat is that if I move the fox on my board by playing a card that shows a fox, and I move it upwards, everyone will simulate that same move by moving their own fox upwards. And if it runs into any sheep on your board, I get them.
Okay.
So it's very clever that way. You can go for a few different things. There are places on the board where the sheep can be safe. So if you are able to manage to move your own to a safe spot, people won't mess with them. Really neat, clean, simple. The addition that you just saw on the board there, which was the reprint from Pegasus, has adorable artwork. Very cute little sheep. A lot of sort of little jokes on the cards and stuff. So it's a game.
Is this one that came with like little cotton balls and sheep?
Yeah, like way back when it first came out. It's a Japanese design, and it had these little fluffy
little
just cotton balls.
Yeah.
And those were the sheep. So they've reworked that, and made this great package. So I think it's a great game. If you're looking for an intro style game that's drafting, kind of tile placement, this is a great one for that. So 93, Sheep and Thief.
All right, my number 93. This is the second year it's been on the list. This is a game I don't think any of you have played. Maybe one of you has. I don't know.
No
and that
idea.
is High Rise. This is from Gil Hova.
Oh, I've played this.
You have played it.
Yeah, it's good.
I Rise? I still haven't played it.
Yeah, no, this is good.
Yeah, this is a game that looks really big and heavy.
Right.
I think a lot of people have played it because of that. It has these big skyscrapers, but even the board,
Even
there's
the
symbols,
rules are-
and the rules are really long. You're like,
Yeah.
oh no! But all it is it's what I'm going to start calling, because lots of people gave us this feedback on our podcast, a ratcheting system. I like, because me and Eric on the podcast talked about what do you call, someone emailed and said, what do you call it when you can go as far forward as you want, but you can't go back? And so people
get
said
that.
ratcheting, and I like that idea. That's how
Okay.
a ratchet works.
I get it. Yeah. Okay. Sure, that works.
But I love that mechanism.
I do
This
too.
is not the only game on my list that has that. and you go around and just.
Well, actually, you can't go as far as you want to, Tom, but
Just like a real ratchet.
you can't. You have to stay in the neighborhood.
Sure.
He's
Okay.
just trying to prove he played it. Ignore him.
But I like the kind of you get the materials,
too,
then you
yeah.
build these towers, and you can make them even taller and build
Right,
bigger
right,
ones,
right.
and there's area control involved. It's one of the few games that I house rule. Well, not house rule, but they have these. Like, you can play a shorter game if you want.
Yes,
and I'm
for
like,
sure.
yes, please.
Every time.
Every time. You go around the board 3 times in the game, but they're like, if you want to play a shorter game, go around twice. Done.
Yeah, I agree.
How can
It's
you
a-
put this in your top 100 if you don't want to play it
If you only play 2/3 of it.
for
Again,
the whole
it's a
time?
legal thing to do in the
Oh, but
rules.
only someone who wouldn't put it in their top 100 would choose that out. Come on now. All these games I've put on my list so far, I never play the recommended amount of rounds.
That's correct.
Always that many plus 12.
High Rise, good game. And I heard didn't he redo this with plastic buildings? Or
Yes,
a
he did.
Kickstarter.
He did a Kickstarter. It originally was going to have them. That got canceled. Then it funded with this, and then he said, "I'm going to do it again. If you do want the plastic buildings, you can."
did that
get
ever
them."
happen?
I don't think it's fulfilled yet. I'm not sure. I'm not positive on that.
I will have to hunt that down. I want the plastic buildings, but
Yeah.
I don't. They look fine without the
They
plastic
do,
buildings.
yeah,
So
yeah,
anyway, High Rise, a lot of fun.
Looks charming. I'd like to try this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the People's Choice number 93, and I'm going to go ahead and say this is the reason that I wanted to do this block, because I want to defend this from the likes of y'all. Number 93 for the
preemptive.
people
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Anne's End. This is a cooperative deck building game where in every session it feels like a boss battle. You're just fighting against some different nemesis that has a different way of fighting against you. Very cooperative, very fun system. 2 years ago, this was number 96 on the People's Choice list. Fell off last year and came back on.
Well, that's because they keep adding. There's like a new
Right.
set comes out every other year.
Every other year.
Yeah, there's a legacy edition. There is 4 big box games just like this you can buy, and there's another legacy game coming out in it. This is a system that has a lot of enduring popularity for the people that really love it.
Of the 476 million cards that come in this game, how many of them have you actually played through?
I've played through 3 of the big boxes and used most of the cards in there.
It just seems like there's so much. I'm
Really,
like,
I mean, come on, you can say that with any deck building
feels that way.
game.
Look at the Ascension that we have in the library. Look at the Dominion we have in the
rather not.
library.
He's punching at you, not Mike, by making these comments. Defend yourself.
I don't know what I'm out with Mike here. For me, Anne's End has fallen off my enjoyment of it because every time I play it, it feels more like work than
Yes.
fun. Like a deck building game, I just go, I buy these cards, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle.
Right.
Here I have to think about in order and work together with other people.
Yeah.
I get why people like it, though. I'm not attacking the game.
Right, I'm the
The
same
people
way.
who like it love it, and we now have 2 of them working here at the Dice Tower.
yeah, it doesn't do it for me, but I do understand why people like it, and that's
And if
fine.
you can get Camilla
That's
to
fine.
like it, you got 3.
Maybe.
I like it as much as the first day I saw it. I do.
Yeah.
There you go. You
That
heard
was
it
a
here first.
positive nothingness. Let's move on.
Number
Never
93,
played
Anne's
it.
End.
So.
I'm kind of sad about my number 92, guys.
You should be.
I'm sad.
Embarrassing.
I'm kind of sad about it because
Have a tic-tac.
this is one of those times where Pub Meeple did its
I'll take
thing,
one of those.
and I wanted to mess
You like
with
it
it,
too?
and I
haven't tried
didn't.
it.
I wanted to mess with it because
You did it because you think it should be higher, it should be
it
lower.
fell 42 rankings, and I have a lot of nostalgia, and that's why I did mess with it, because I think, if I'm being honest,
It's garbage.
if it moved, it's not garbage. Actually, I think you like this game. I think all of you like this game, but it's not
He's
quite
doing
what
his
it
log
was.
intro thing. You notice?
That's my thing. My number 92 is Takenoko. This was one of the earliest modern hobby board games I've played.
Yeah.
I
Great
think
game.
it's a charming game. I think it is a very, very, I don't know. It's a game that just gives me good feels, but it's not a game that I find myself wanting to play much anymore. That's just the bottom line, is that it doesn't really scratch the gaming itches that I kind of have much anymore. And so I have a great affection for it. I have a great affinity for it. I still love teaching it to people. I still think it is a beautiful production. I still think it's a clever design, but it's just not quite what it used to be for me anymore. It's still on my list. I still think it's a terrific game. I would still obviously play it, but it's not one that I use that I choose for myself. If I'm going to play Takenoko, it's almost always because I want to teach it to somebody else who hasn't played it before.
That's a good thing. I think
That's
I feel
an
the same
interesting
way.
point,
but I
isn't it?
like it.
Right.
That's something interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Because we are often in the position of teaching other people
Yes.
games. How often do you play a game because you are passing on
Yes.
some joy that perhaps even you no longer feel yourself?
Right.
Right.
I think you should have led with that because everything else sounded like this game's not that great.
No,
But
no.
really, I like that point a lot.
It's terrific, but yeah, it's because
The point I just made?
Well, he said it first. Don't
I
be
said
stealing
it
his point.
eloquently. Okay, excuse
So
me.
I have an idea, guys.
Excuse me while
What
I
if we?
yeah, so that's the thing. It's because if I want to play it, it's because I want to share it with somebody else, teach them to it. But anyway, still a terrific game. My number 92 is Takenoko.
My number 92 is Quadropolis. Quadropolis was also not on my list last time. It might have been on my top 100 in the past. I don't
This
know.
one probably bounces around for you.
It does. It kind of does.
Did
And the
Meadow
more-
make you think of it?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't think Metal's on my list, though. I haven't played it enough. That's honestly why. The thing about this kind of game, I'm not a big city building fan. I just don't tend to like that style of game. And I think every time I come across a city building type game, or brush up against one, a quick play of something or other I'm, discovering, it reminds me of the few I do enjoy. I can count them on one hand, And this is one of those. The way the game is illustrated and handles everything definitely helps. It makes the game pop. It's very bright, lighthearted. I think a lot of city building games sometimes are very serious. There's like a general somber sort of vibe to infrastructure. It's like, all right, I get it. This one does not come across that way. No. And that's one of the reasons I do like it. And then the adjacency and all the usual city building trappings are handled in a way that is clean and straightforward. And I like all that. So, yeah, Quadropolis is one I would still definitely recommend. Lighter than many of these kinds of games, but a good, solid package. So, my 92, Quadropolis.
All right, my number 92 is been on the list for 7 years. Was 31 last year, so it dropped a bit here.
Wow.
I didn't play it last year.
Yeah.
So, but it's one I want to play more and do more with. But there's more bag building games. This is Orleans, which I will now. Well, actually, someone else. Who has the rights to Orleans now? I don't remember. Someone else picked up. Was it Renegade?
I think it was Capstone, wasn't it?
I thought it was Capstone. Now you say
It's always Capstone these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still something. I tend to like deck building / bag building.
Right.
There's something about that, but this one has a nice strategy game built on top of that. And I feel like it's a really entertaining mix together. I like the expansions for Orleans. I like my very nice deluxe version of it, which I hope. Actually, I'm going to be curious how Capstone handles that, because Capstone's games these days are like top-notch
They
looking.
are gorgeous.
So
yes.
maybe this whole deluxeified thing, which anyone can use now.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
Daisy Mitchell's out. Let's quick use that word. Deluxeified Dice Tower. Anyway, Orleans is a lot of fun.
Do you like playing it cooperatively at all?
I would do it once a decade.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not kidding on
Yeah.
that. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was an interesting puzzle.
Yeah.
And it was done. I was like, cool.
Don't
now
need-
it's playing normal.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. It was better than I thought, because I thought it would be terrible.
Yeah, no, it wasn't terrible. at
Cool,
all.
I like that.
Yeah.
Talk to me in 10 years.
In 5
right.
years, I'll give you a ring, and
right.
we'll try a co-op.
Now, when would you want to play Orleans Stories again?
Once a century.
No, Orleans Stories is terrible. It's like
Yeah, so don't make that mistake. If you're looking into this game, it sounds interesting to you. This is definitely the one
Orleans
he's talking
Stories is a
about.
really, really long game where they're like, you don't get to do everything for Orleans at the beginning. You get to do a small part of the game. Then after an hour or two, here's a piece of it you can play. They're trying to turn it into a legacy game, but instead of adding stuff, they took away a lot of it. And they're like, we'll slowly give it back to you. Which also the end legacy game did too. I didn't like that. I don't like that. Don't do that with legacy games.
I'll defend this later. First,
Not on the Anthem Legacy is not on the People's Choice.
No.
First of all, I'm going to agree with Mike. These are pretty flavorless.
They are, yes.
These apple pie Tic Tacs.
Yeah, they
completely
promise.
They're yours.
They promise something that they ain't delivering. I can tell you that.
All right, now
right.
let's go to the people. The people's
Oh,
number.
artificially flavored. Ah!
Zee was hoping they cut
They're
up actual
gamey,
apple
is what they
pies.
Those are some gamey Tic Tacs.
All right, the people's choice number 92 is a big, epic, Cthulhu-themed game from Fantasy Flight Games called Eldritch Horror. This is one of those games that I think a lot of people, it's kind of their first big, world trekking exploration,
type of a-
narrative,
yeah.
adventure kind of game. It is a reworking, of course, of Arkham Horror, and they said that they streamlined it to a nice, cool 4 hours.
There you go.
Arkham Horror is not on the people's choice
Just
list.
like they streamlined Unfathomable. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Eldritch Horror, last year was 88. In previous years, back in 2014, it was as high as number 8. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
kind
this
of
was hot when it
yeah,
dropped.
yeah.
This was real hot when it came out.
Yeah, and it's just steadily kind of moved down about every 10 spaces or so each year. I mean, it's got staying power to still be relevant this many years later.
Right.
And I think that for a lot of people, it's one of the most exciting games that really got them hooked with this style.
I was going to say, if I was like you do, making predictions every year, this is now old enough where I might call for an Eldritch Horror 2nd edition.
With an app integration.
Ooh.
I could
Interesting.
easily see myself in
Especially-
2022, there will be an Eldritch Horror 2nd edition dropping.
Or
Maybe by the 10 year
no,
anniversary
yeah, I
or
think maybe
something.
you're right. Yeah, because the Arkham Horror one did not take off that well.
The 3rd edition?
Third?
No.
They've already pumped out 3 expansions or 2 for
Yes,
it,
but if
though.
you notice, it hasn't the people's choice. It's not really.
Yeah, but
it's
I
not
could
that.
totally see this getting a facelift. Yeah.
Also, a couple of super chats. We want to say thank you to everyone who's
Indeed.
shouting out and supporting
Yes.
us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
folks.
One more for today. Woo!
All right, closing out this first top 10 of our top 100, last 10 of our top 100, is a game, a great game that has been designed within the last 20 years by the acclaimed designer Dr. Reiner Knizia.
Is this new to your list, but not a new game?
It is not new to my list, and it is a crossover with the People's Choice. This is The Quest for El Dorado.
To clarify my comments from earlier today in our
Yes.
board game breakfast, I think this is a very good game. I just don't think it's great. That's why I said what I said.
Oh, okay. Well, he's wrong. It's great. This is a fantastic
A lot of controversy today
Yeah,
that
yeah.
came out of this comment.
deck building / race game, and I think that's one of the great appeals to it. Is I think that it is a lot of times you'll see something that's kind of like a mixture of two things, and it doesn't feel like a cohesive mix. This really does. This idea of playing the cards to kind of get past terrain, to have a pure race. It feels like a race 100%, and it feels like a deck building game 100%. It feels like both. It is a very nice mixture. It is not particularly innovative, I will say that, but the little twists that it does have, I think, are great. The idea of whoever takes the last card out of that market can choose the next card, stack of cards that come in. It's a little thing, but it's a great thing. And I haven't seen it done before, and I haven't really seen it done since, I don't think. So, although you love to joke that he claims that he invented deck building, I don't think he ever said that.
No, he did not. If I say
he-
that, that is a joke.
Yeah,
I'm going to
He
be
just
clear.
says, or has before said, he doesn't really play other people's games.
Right.
And
I think
then
he-
the leap as a joke
Sure, it is a
is
joke,
that,
yeah.
so if he never played a deck building game,
How did he know how to design
I
them?
think
How did
he
he
might
make-
not play them. I think he must read about
He
them.
must be aware of them, sure.
He designed a Carcassonne
Correct,
game.
correct,
You have
correct.
to know how to play Carcassonne to do
Exactly.
that.
Does not live in a box hidden from the world.
No.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, of course.
I do think this is just a fantastic game. This is, if I'm going to introduce somebody to deck building, it's probably going to be with this game.
really?
Yeah.
That I
I would
disagree
go with
with.
something cleaner. Because
I don't
this
know.
is... I
DC
would
deck
go with-
building, Ascension,
Maybe.
Dominion.
Not Ascension. No way. I would do this over Ascension 100%.
Why?
I just think this is simpler to understand. You're playing
Then
a
base
paddle.
Ascension?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're playing a paddle to go through the water. You're playing a
No.
machete to go through the forest. You're trying to get to there. First person to the end wins. This is much
I guess it
easier for
depends who
someone
the
to
person
understand.
is, though. That's the thing about Gateway teaching games.
You show
Yeah.
someone,
You
show
geared
someone
to
in
the
a
person.
Yeah,
you
who
show
that
someone an
person is.
Ascension card unless they have a background in Magic, they're going to be thrown off by that. They're going to be intimidated by all that text. You show somebody the cards in El Dorado, they're going to see 2 paddles, and it's not going to be intimidating to them. Paddles for water.
Yeah, but I don't know that I would.
So yeah, no, maybe.
If people want to fight beasties and monsters and stuff, yeah, Ascension.
Sure.
Right, that's
No,
kind
the
of
Phil Walker Harding one.
summer camp.
Summer camp, you're right. That's another good choice. I like
Paddles
this.
for water.
But it's very.
I didn't defeat it.
You're back in the same.
I do
trap.
prefer
Have
this.
a flavorless Tic Tac.
Right.
No.
I prefer this to Summer Camp, but that's also a good choice for an introductory deck builder. But it's my number 91, The Quest for El Dorado, a fantastic, fantastic game.
My number 91 is a new game to the list. It's a new game that came out this year. And I was very surprised that this made it onto my top 100. Again, I did not massage this list at all. My number 91 is Seven Wonders Architects.
Whoa!
Nice.
Really?
I was very impressed by this game. And I'll be honest right now, this might not be on my top 100 next year. I don't think this game has a ton of replayability. Mm-hmm. Okay, my one big flaw of it would probably be the legs, okay, right? In 5 years, will the same people be playing this game?
Depends
I
how
doubt
often
it.
you teach it over the next year. I bet that's what it is. If you keep teaching it to new people and they play it and love it, it will be in your head and it might make your top 100.
But that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I'm teaching
yeah.
it to new people, or I'm playing with new people every time. You know what I mean? I don't think that the same folks will continue playing the same game. Maybe. I don't know. I'm speculating. But the gameplay itself is welcoming introductory perfection. It really is. This game has managed to distill things from Seven Wonders Duel, and just from sort of general gaming, good practices into a package that scales incredibly well, seeing as to how you don't have to manage, you don't have
Right.
to deal with basically anybody else at the table but someone to your right and to your left. That's it. And you were talking about quick turns earlier, just the quickest of
My
turns.
word, yes.
Take a card, play it. What does it do? Something incredibly simple. You're done.
Yeah.
Construction costs for things have been simplified as much as they can be. You have 2 things that match, stone, build.
Yep.
Okay, the next level is 2 different things. That's it. I mean, it doesn't get a whole lot simpler than that. And yet, it's not dumb, it's not lame, it's engaging, there's combat, there is this barreling towards the end that keeps the game just propelling forward. Very quick game also, but full of energy and intense. So, yeah, it kind of just blew me away that they managed to do it again with a Seven Wonders title.
My favorite thing about this game is that so often Seven Wonders is brought up as a great gateway or an introductory game, and I love Seven Wonders. I think it's a terrible gateway game.
I agree.
Agreed.
This is a great gateway
Yes.
game.
Oh, I agree. Seven Wonders is not a good game to teach to someone who does not already have several concepts under their belt.
Right.
This is fine.
I agree.
This
Yeah.
is a great family game, and if we had a copy at home, I think our daughter would request to pull it out almost every night. She really loves it.
Yeah. So there you go.
choice.
All right. My number 91 was 7 last year.
Whoa!
Okay.
Man, I
What
thought
happened?
Rising Sun was a
It was
big
18,
drop.
14, 18, and 31
What
the year before
happened?
that. What happened was 2 other games came out last
Yeah, see,
year
that happens.
gave a 1-2 punch to this game.
Okay.
All right, who got knocked out?
And they're both farther up on the list.
This one's on the ropes, but
Near
it
and
hasn't
far.
fallen out of the list. It
No.
hasn't fallen out of the rank.
So one of the card games that came out was a card game version of the same game.
Okay.
And the other is one I'm playing tomorrow.
Terraforming Mars?
Yep, Terraforming Mars.
Whoa!
I love Terraforming Mars. And I still put it on my top 100 list. But I'm telling you, between Ares Expedition and between Ark Nova, I don't know. The only thing that's keeping this on my list is the app.
Yeah.
Because the app is nice and smooth, even though sometimes if you accidentally touch your screen, it will put a city within a spot I didn't mean to, and you can't take it back, and that's stupid. But, man, I do like this game. I love the combos.
Yeah.
Not so keen on the take that wears down a little bit. Sometimes that throws things off. Still fantastic game.
Yeah.
Still my top 100 this year.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
there you go.
Wow. Okay. Oof.
Look at that. Well, the People's Choice, number 91, is Grand Austria Hotel. This is a dice drafting game by some of the Italian designers, Luciani, Gigli, and Brasini, if I remember correctly. They've made a lot of games that are very well regarded.
It's only 2 of them. Come on, Chris, get in the game.
It's only 2?
Ridiculous.
Okay, you're right.
This is ridiculous.
It's like speaking for the people
Come on,
in
he's
the
supposed to be
wrong
the people's
language.
choice. Come on.
I'm not the people's choice. I speak for the
You
people's
defend
choice.
them.
I'm like the Lorax. I speak for the people.
That's
The
a
Lorax
deep
Dr.
cut.
Trees.
That's
I
a
don't
deep
get that
cut.
reference. What is a Lorax?
Wow.
What's a Lorax? It's a
Yeah.
great movie. You should watch it. And book, too.
What is a Lorax?
From Dr.
It's a
Seuss.
Dr. Seuss,
It's
yeah.
a Dr. Seuss character. He
okay.
speaks for the trees. Grand Austria coming in at 91. This is the highest it's actually ever been. Because in the last 3 years, it was 109, 112, 109.
It's the expansion. Everyone
Yeah,
wit's played
the
that
Waltz
expansion has told me
expansion,
it
right?
makes it so much better. I've got to try this expansion.
Okay.
I've got to try
Okay.
it too.
Let's
'cause I'm a
waltz.
big fan of this game. It's about getting a hotel, filling it up with guests, drafting dice to do it. Very, very neat game. So that's number 91.
What was the game we played that you said felt like
Golem.
Golem? Okay.
Yeah,
got
by
it.
the same designers
Okay.
as well.
Yes,
That's the one that has
but
three
all
designers.
their games have that. They tend to have that kind of
Action
same
selection
feel anyway.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. It did not make my top 100, but it's certainly one I enjoy, and maybe the expansion would help. Who knows?
Got to get that waltz.
That's 10, folks.
Woo!
10. Well, 40 games. Well, we had 2 crossovers, right?
Yeah.
So that was 38 games you heard about. We'll be back tomorrow at noon doing the same thing with a different People's Champion.
I've been exiled.
That's correct.
Yeah, that was decided just now.
Yes.
But we're not done with live stuff today. Mike, what's going on at 2?
At 2 o'clock in just over 30 minutes, we're going to be playing a game of my #1 game of 2021, Merchant's Cove. So if you are interested in that, come back and check it out. It should be a lot of fun. Myself, Chris, and Camilla are going to be playing that one. So I'm sure shenanigans and hijinks will be afoot.
What a dastardly claim.
Thanks so much for watching the Top 100. Thank you for everyone who did Super Chats. We want to also thank everyone who's backing our Dice Tower Kickstarter going on right now.
Thank you.
Which has promos for many of the games we mentioned in there.
True.
But thank you, everybody. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Mike DiLisio.
I'm Zee Garcia.
Have fun playing games.
Woo!